Starting.
I'm scared.
Real estate is the biggest emotional roller coaster you could ever be on in your life. If Jeff and Christy ever got together, they would rule the world.
Failure is not an option was the motto. Christy is my work wife. You have to communicate.
Where's my ring?
Right? Right? There's been this constant like push and pull for me of like feeling like you're disappointing somebody, just trying to make everyone happy.
Really amazing. Oh, we're rolling.
Oh, rolling.
Okay.
You see me rolling. Yeah, hey.
All right, so pull something from, or actually,
Gotta get used
I'm gonna
to
struggle.
them.
Yeah, gotta.
explain to us what we're doing.
Okay. Our marketing team has made us do this. We're
Like
not
actually,
sure what it's gonna be like,
No.
but we're just gonna roll with the punches. Okay.
I'm
Starting.
scared. I'm scared. You go first.
No. Okay, I'm gonna ask you a question first.
Okay.
Okay, I'll take this one since it's poking out.
Oh my god.
Okay,
I need a drink.
Okay, get ready. Chug.
Okay.
Okay. They want us to reminisce on a time when we both had to face a challenge in business.
Oh.
Okay, so let's think about what challenge.
Challenge.
There's
business.
a few. There's been a few.
There's been a few. Since we
Okay,
came together, let's go.
Wait. We have to say one that's not going to throw us under the bus.
True. There's been a few of those too.
Okay. Throw out some ideas.
Challenge in business. Well, every single time that we lose somebody is a challenge.
Yeah, true.
So I'd say like biggest one recent was like when everybody left.
2020.
We had like mass exodus from the team.
Yeah.
And during COVID.
We learned so much from that though, because it was like, you know, there were reasons that we were unaware of that got brought to our attention. And then we were able to like shift gears, fix it, alter, adjust, and then like come back like 10 times stronger.
And it was cool because remember like everyone on the team that we like on their way out, we got to ask them lots of questions, figure out like, and then we learned from those mistakes. And then we kept in like a really good relationship with all of them.
All of them.
Like still
we
like
still have friendships with all of them.
Totally. And we still talk to them all, have great relationship. We cheer them on still.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of cool that
100%.
at least like
Love
it was a hard blow, but at the same time we like
best learning experience
ever.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we like when we came together, we're like, you know, we're going to build this business that like no one's ever going to want to leave and they're all going to stay forever. It's going to be like fun and blah, blah.
Oh yeah. That's what you think.
Yeah. And then, so that's just ego though. So I think we both learned like, you know,
We got a slap.
yeah.
A slap in the ego.
Yeah. And you learn that like people are going to have like in this business, you're like, people are entrepreneurs. They're going to want to, sometimes they're going to have that personality. They're going to want to go and do their own thing. We both did it, right? To come together. So how can you fault somebody for like, you know, getting to that point where they want to do their own thing and grow.
What feels good about at the end of that all, like it's like we got them to a point where they felt like they could do it on their own.
Yes.
And that felt good. That felt like we had changed lives in a different way. And then that shifted our goals around leading a team.
Totally.
Because then it was like, okay, not everybody has to stay forever.
No.
And
exactly.
That's okay. If they leave, they leave. Like, and if they leave, it's probably for the best that they leave, whether it be it's not the right fit, there's no alignment left, or that they've grown so much that they are ready to do something on their own. Which I can appreciate that not everybody fits into the mold of what we've created.
No, it's our vision. It's not always going to be their vision.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
It was cool being a part of their journey, right? Yeah. I think that's what's cool about it.
Oh, wrap it up?
All right.
Okay, enough about
Next
that.
one.
He's telling us to shut up. Okay,
marketing team's telling us to shut up. Next question.
Next question.
Oh, God.
Oh, God, I'm nervous.
Sam, what did you do to us today? Okay.
Sip of wine.
Sip of wine.
Jeff needs a refill. Garçon.
Hook me up. Okay. Oh. Do you feel the younger generation plays enough of a role in carrying their weight when it comes to working?
This is the preview question that we had.
Give me your glass.
Okay, wait a second. How are we going to tell the truth and not like shoot ourselves in the foot?
It's true.
You just say less.
Good God.
Oh, yeah.
This thing is not easy to operate. Okay, there. All right. Say less. Less is more.
Yes.
Okay, so wait, repeat that again. You have to pick it up off the ground.
Do you feel the younger generation plays enough of a role in carrying their weight when it comes to working?
Am I the only one answering this? Okay.
You can have a chat.
My quick answer is no. No, I'm just kidding.
Are you?
I don't know.
I think that the younger generation, I think there's my experience with, and again, now that I'm 40, I feel like that is the age group I'm talking about is like 18 to 25, let's call it.
Okay.
And what I've seen is that there's a pretty good mix of in that generation. To me, there's no in between. It's either they are like going out and killing it, right? Like they are so motivated, they are whatever. But I think our generation was fairly soft, right? I think the generation before us, they were a little bit harder. They'd had to go through some things. And I think the generation before them was had been to war, right? And had lived through depressions and things like that. Like my grandparents, let's call it, right? So then my parents' age group was they learned from those guys, but those guys were we want you to have a better life than we had, right? And then our parents' generation was we want you to have a better life than we had. So we were we got kind of soft. And now us to the next generation, a little bit below us, they're pretty soft.
Okay,
they're coming up.
What generation are we? We're millennials.
We're end of the millennial. We're end of the millennial.
The beginning of millennials. We're the firstborn millennials.
Yes.
So
right on the cusp.
Before us was
34
Gen X. 34. Okay. So yeah.
What are you?
No.
Gen Z. So it's the Gen Z we're talking about now. I think the Gen Z generation, I think they're I just think that, again, I've seen some of them that are
they're
super
not
motivated.
Our kids though. They're the Gen X kids.
Yes.
Right? They're the kids of people who are in their 40s and 50s right now.
Typically Gen Z and Gen X are the ones that would be
parents. Gen X is the parents of Gen Z.
Yeah. Me as a Gen Z.
Yeah.
Yes.
So where I'm going with it is I think that the vast majority that I've interacted with that are 20 years younger than me, let's call it, are now, I think that some of them are entitled, right? So I think we've the younger version of our parents, some of those could be my kids now, right? If I was had kids really young, right? And I think that they're coming up and they've just been entitled. Life's been easy. They haven't had to really, the hard thing for them is being told that they can't play video games or that kind of thing, right? So I think that there's a little bit of that. But I'm also seeing some of that generation, I think because some of them have gone the other route where they've been told that, and so they want to defy that.
Yeah.
So they're saying no, I'm going to prove you guys wrong, right? So Sam, right? Our marketing guy, he's this guy's 20, not even 20 yet.
You're not
asshole.
Even 20?
He's 19.
You
and
lied about your age.
Right?
You told me you were 20. I swear to God, you told me you were 21.
And this guy's running a company already, right? And Akshat, right? You have these guys that are so motivated and they're killing it at such a young age.
Yeah.
So I think there's there are these people that are pushing the mold at that age, but they're far and few between, I think.
So what I feel about that generation is that they're trying to find the fast track to earning big wealth really quickly. So I think there is maybe a stigma or something to say about them being lazy and just trying to jump to the next level. But there is also something to learn from them, because why do we feel like we have to blood, sweat, and tears about everything?
Don't work smarter, work harder. Don't work harder, work smarter.
Exactly.
And they seem to have that
way.
mentality.
Exactly. So that's why you onboard them into your company so that they help you run it at a more efficient level.
Yes.
If they have the right ideas around it, then why not? There is talent out there. So when you find it, you take it.
Next question.
Let's go.
Okay, next question.
Dolly, roll it up.
Good political answer, Christy.
All right, sure. Okay, Jeff?
You want me to read this one again? Or are you going?
Or wait. Oh, did
Let's go. Okay. We'll do it. We're doing them together. What challenges have you two overcome in your business careers? You go first.
God. Okay, well, didn't we kind of already...
We went over like some together, but what have you overcome on your own?
Answer? Okay, what have I overcome on my own? All right.
I think being a female in the industry alone, we talk about that a lot.
I think that's a big one, actually, because, like, it's the reality is we get judged different. Like, I get judged different than you.
Yep.
It happens all the time. We've seen it time and time again, but that's part of where I felt like it was important to partner with a man, was to give myself the balance of opportunity. Yep. So it's like, okay, if it wasn't there for me, then at least Jeff will make sure it is there for me. If I was losing in some way, then at least I have backup to like fix it. Yep. And that's where I saw partnering with a man as an opportunity, although it does kind of sting me a bit to think, like, as a feminist, to think like, you know, I kind of, in a way, sold out that like women can't just do it on their own.
Yeah. So, at the same time, you're a leader, right? So you're still leading. We just lead like, you know, different parts of the business, but you still lead and you have the respect of all the people under you. So I think you've broken through that mold of it. Like, we've talked about it because we talk about this a lot, me and you, right? And I think because we've seen it. We've seen, you know, we both go into a presentation together and, you know, they're talking to me, right? And you have just as much credibility. We're both leading this team and this organization and business together, and yet their person's having the conversation with me, right? And
I don't even get eye contact.
And you barely get eye contact. Yeah. So again, that's something we've definitely, like, you know, I think I'm pretty in touch with that side because I've grown up around women. So I'm like, I've seen it, but I've also, like, being your partner, I've witnessed it firsthand. So it does happen. Yeah. But I think you've overcome it in a lot of ways, right? You've proven, and I've seen so much, like, think about the Kate Brodericks of the world and all these women who are just like proving all that, you know, that side wrong. So I think the idea is to not make an excuse out of it, right? It's to, like, yes, it is going to be a little bit harder though. Yeah. Right. But I think it doesn't mean that you just have to, like, let it own you and take you down.
No, and right? I never wanted to let it motivate me. Exactly. It motivates me, if anything else. But I do look at the way the business has changed in so many ways. Yes. And like when I first got into business, like we're going on almost 20 years ago now, it's like there wasn't a lot of women owning the industry, and the ones who were a different generation than me. Yes. So I had a lot of like gaps in the relatability to the women who were running the industry. Agreed. And then there was also like, you know, women, they're all like, most of them are like mothers. So then I still find myself with this gap of like, I don't also connect to them in that way either, because they've, you know, leveraged themselves in other ways in life. And to be honest, I'm like, I can't even imagine what it would be like to handle everything that they juggle in life. I already feel overwhelmed without kids. So like to put kids into the mix, I can't even believe that. Totally. So, but for my side of things, the way I've overcome it is there is this new community of women to connect to in business. And I found that community and I connect with them all the time. And I make sure to make a special effort to take time to actually connect with them in different ways, whether it be like clubs, friendships, whatever we do. Like we have all kinds of ways of doing that. So,
yep. I think we also both got into the business young, right? So you touched on that like a bit, like there's for you, it was like young and a female, right? That's two things to overcome, but like, and we're seeing it with like young people on our team now too. And we both got in like, you know, I was 22, 23, you were 19 or 18, right? So that's young, right? And a lot of people, when they see this industry, they're like, you know, how can you run a business, or, you know, or how are people going to take you seriously at that young age, right? So I think overcoming that was definitely something for both of us too, right? To prove ourselves right from the beginning.
Yep, absolutely.
Sam's rolling his finger at us, so we have to
move on. Okay, now let me ask you.
You have to ask one.
Okay. Close the thing.
Let's close the thing. We got to make it look pretty.
Okay, This thing is not. So stupid. I know, and Kayla was warning us.
There we go.
Okay, there we go. All right.
Sam wants it to look good.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I do too. Let's go.
Really appreciate that. Actually.
Should my glass be here, Sam?
Is my hair okay?
Yeah. Right?
Right? What else?
Right?
What else can we do? Okay. Do your views differ with family? One of you has children and the other does not. We were just talking about this. Has that changed anything from a business perspective?
I mean, when I had...
Let's hear your perspective.
Yeah. So for me, when I had kids, it changed my business completely, right? So like the day that Ella came into my world, all of a sudden, like now my relatability wasn't just to like the young people that I was selling houses to and their parents per se. It was like now it's kind of like that thing, like when you're getting married, all you talk about is getting married. When you have a kid, all you talk about is having kids. So now you're relating to all those people that are in that same world.
Yep.
So I found like that changed my business and opened up this whole new world of people that I could connect to. Because we know like this business is all about relationships and people that you have like-mindedness with and all of that. Right. So for me, that was like one of I didn't have kids for that reason, obviously, but
to make money.
Right. But definitely like as soon as I had kids, it definitely like I said, opened up that, just that connectivity and way to have that like-mindedness with people. Right.
Yeah. I think that's an interesting dynamic between us two, and also a tad strategic on my end as well.
Yes.
Because, you being a family guy was helpful for me to connect to that side of things without being
and vice versa, right?
Yeah,
like
true.
I'm someone who's like, I'm gonna be at all of my kids' stuff. So having a partner that, like Christy will tell you, her kid is the business, right? And the business has always been massively important to me too. It's like my third child, right? But for Christy, it's her only child, right? So she like that. It is that important to her, right? Like on the same level as kids. You've always said that, right? Like that's what it is. So I think for both of us, having somebody that can offset that, right? That side of it, I think was huge, right? It's why, I don't know, we have a cool thing. Dynamic, like our partnership is like, we have the male female thing. We have the like family, non-family thing. We have
child free. We call ourselves these days.
Yeah. And then also the friendship dynamic and trust and all of that we have that like most people think we're like a couple, right? Or like and that most like real estate friends. Partnerships are that they're like husband and wife teams. So like to defy that and be just like a friend team, but that's made 5 years and growth and all of those things happen. It's kind of cool.
But we've been friends for so many years that it's like, it was a natural come together.
Yes. And it was the right timing.
Yeah, it was. You're right. Actually, timing was everything for us. We were both huge. At the right time. We both needed growth.
Yes.
Okay. We got off topic. Okay.
Next question. Throw it over the shoulder.
Take it easy.
Let's go. Get out of my way.
Okay.
Stay that one.
Okay.
Okay.
It's like Sam knows what this one says. What kind of criticism have you received for personal life choices that shaped who you are today? How did you deal with that criticism? Man, personal life choices.
Okay, wait.
Don't do drugs.
Repeat question.
What kind of criticism?
I almost picked this up to drink it.
Right? What kind of criticism have you received for personal life choices that shaped who you are today? How did you deal with that criticism?
I know what he's trying to get me to talk about.
What is it? Where is he going with this?
What we've been talking about. I'm pretty sure we've already like dealt with this, right? Like, okay, criticism. Okay, wait. Okay, no. Actually, no. Let's think of a different topic on that. So, criticism.
What would you say we've been criticized about?
Okay, so,
what's something that somebody said to you at a listing presentation?
Okay, you know.
Something that okay, so criticism?
Well, I was thinking sometimes, we do, or I like to hide like the success because I don't like to be judged based on our lifestyles and what we do in our spare time and our, like our leisure time.
Yeah.
I don't really like to be judged in that way. But, Jeff's always like, we worked hard to get there and Sam, you told me like it's relatable also. So I'm trying to overcome that I think that's a criticism, but maybe it's not actually a criticism. Maybe I actually haven't heard those words, but I heard people say things about other people in that way that's led me to believe that could be something that's criticized against me.
I think y'all always got to stay humble, right? I think we've always like tried to do that. Like we're not out there bragging about ourselves a bunch. But the challenge with this business especially is like you're so in the limelight with people and
they want to know that you've done well.
Like they're judging you based on how well you've done. Yeah. So if you're not talking about how well you've done, then they're now they don't know.
Tell me a time when you felt extremely judged.
Like in business, you mean? Personal?
I don't know.
I mean, I think anytime you're going through like personal stuff at home and then that's like coming into the world, you feel, sometimes I felt a bit judged by my team even, right? Was that I couldn't necessarily connect to them completely, or I was like, during COVID, for example, like it's kind of that like put your mask on first and then you can take care of everybody else, right? So like you got to take care of at home and all of those things first and then you have the team, right? And I don't know, I think for a while there I felt like I just not as much being judged, just felt like I was letting people down, right? And you're just trying to balance all of these things and make every single person in your life happy, right? And that's a really hard thing to do. Right. And sometimes it's yourself that falls by the wayside in that, or you're like hurting others. I don't know if that really answers that question, but
I don't know. I really try to like take criticism as a way to improve. So I never sit there and think of it as judgment. I think of it as maybe this is constructive criticism that I need to listen to and be open to, and then make some improvements based on that. But like, I don't know. I guess everybody at some point in their life has felt judged.
Yeah. I feel judged a lot of the time because like, I think sometimes people just think that you got somewhere easy, like it was just handed to you or it was easy,
yes,
right?
Actually, that is something that's
a big one for us.
Say about more you, I think, than me.
They just like, sometimes people are just like, oh, like he's just lucky, or he just got, things just came easy to him, or it was this kind of thing. But people don't always see like what you did, the blood, sweat, and tears side of it, right? Like what you did to get to where you got to, and the time you put in, the weekends you gave up, and the times you didn't go out with people so that you could work on something. Or it's that like behind the scenes stuff that they just see the end picture or the award, or that you're living in this nice house or have something, right? And they don't see like what it took to get there. Yep. Right.
Next question.
Let's go.
Okay. Do you have any constructive feedback right now? Is
this working?
This is money?
This is probably the best content that we've filmed in the last 4 months.
No.
Yeah?
Really?
It's working? Okay.
Oh, wow, that changed everything.
Yeah.
Chugga. Keep drinking.
Let's go.
That's the real us.
Right? Now you're seeing like our true friendship. On a personal note, where did you both learn the value of hard work?
Oh my God. My mother.
Yeah, your mom, she lived and breathed it.
Yes. Yeah. My dad too, but obviously my mom was a real estate agent, brought me into the business, and watching her, because they switch roles. Like when we were kids, they switch roles. My dad was the stay-at-home dad, and my mom became the breadwinner, or the person who was going out and working hard. And that was my example in life, was a woman in business who put a suit on every day, went to the office every day, came home late at night, missed all of my dance and all of my competitions and stuff like that, wasn't there because she was working hard. Yep. I appreciated that about her. She pushed me into the industry. Yep. Kicking and screaming, but it was worth it. I mean, she was definitely my inspiration. 100%.
Yeah. And I'd say this same thing, like parents, like obviously I watched my mom too. Like she wasn't going out there and like running her own business or anything like that, but everything that she did, like she was working her butt off, like driving long, like all the way downtown every day, coming home late, putting in the extra hours. My dad was doing the same thing, right? So you see, like, you have this example of people who are just working hard to give you this life. And like we said earlier, like trying to give, like for me, like trying to give my kids a better life than what I had, right? My parents were trying to give me a better life than what they had. Yeah. So it all just like trickles down. And so you see like, okay, they worked really hard to give me this. If I want to like do better than them, I got to work even harder. Yeah. Right. So it's just that.
You guys both have your parents still?
Yeah.
Yeah. I lost my dad.
She lost her dad.
So, okay, at that loss, what went through your mind?
That was hard because, well, at the time, like it was right around, actually, to be honest, that was probably right around the time, like I decided to shift my business into like more of from a casual business into more of like a team and get really serious after my dad died. But what went through my mind, like it was like, buck up, like, get better. Like, it was like,
he taught you that way.
Yeah,
right?
It was like there was no other way.
He wasn't like sit there and like I knew her dad too. It wasn't like you're not gonna sit there and cry about me. It's like you're gonna like take my life lessons that I've taught you, and you're gonna now like take them and go. Yeah, that's how she did it.
It was like to me, it was like the only way to get through this is to rise above it, get better from it, just be a better version of myself, make him proud. I don't want to cry. That's like part of. I honestly, it was what probably defined me into like who I was in the business and then who I am now. I think that was what catapulted me into this new.
You kind of grew up. Like I was like Christy and I have been friends for a long time. So I watched her through that time. And so like Christy's a lot of fun outside of work. She's fun in work too, but like, we were having fun outside of it. But you saw this like transition of somebody like go from like, kind of the party girl, which she learned how to balance still like having fun outside of work, but like building a career out of this, right? I think you were like, I'm going to make my dad proud now. Now I have something more to prove than just doing real estate, right?
Alive or not, what's one thing that you want each of your parents to know about you or just about your relationship with them? Say your mom, Jeff.
Yeah, to me, it's just been, I think like parents give you such support. There's an unconditional love with parents, right? So for me, like, I feel like I've done a lot of things. I'm pretty independent. So I've like gone and done a lot of things on my own, but my parents have always supported me in it. So there's never been a question of like, am I supported? Am I, do I have their 100% support in the decisions that I'm making, whether they agree with them or not, right? I've always had that like unconditional love and support from my parents. And that knowing that you have that allows you to go out and just like do anything, right? And I think that's what I would like. They've been so much more. Like my dad's been like a mentor in business for me. He's somebody that I can just go to, ask the questions. He gives me good advice. So he's been that for me, but my mom's been like a cheerleader. Right. So I kind of have had like that side. My parents are like complete opposites. Right. So I have like logic in my dad, emotion in my mom. Right. And I get like, I'm a mix of the two. Right. So to me, it's like they gave me all that. Right.
Totally. What about you? I would want my parents to know different things because I think my mom gave me the ability to be a strong woman in business and taught me how to overcome massive obstacles. She always had an answer to every question. And that was something I learned from. And I listened to her. And even to this day, when I work, it's like I'm scripted by her. Like, it's like I can hear her words coming out when I'm selling, when I'm negotiating, when I'm doing anything in business. So my mom definitely gave me the skills that I have today in business. My dad gave me the skills that I have in my relationships, my mental health, my any kind of
stability.
Ability that I have. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, stability.
He was so
anything.
Even keel.
Right.
That's for just throwing that out of here.
Like we're gonna break.
I'm a hand talker
today. Yeah.
even on this session.
Well, because it's hard to stay right put.
Right.
Yeah. No, my dad definitely gave me the emotional connection and you said that too, that balance that you had. So my dad was that for me. He gave me that mental health strength that I needed to move forward in any because oh my God, real estate is the biggest emotional roller coaster you could ever be on in your life. Like some days you're flying so high, other days you're like so in the ground, you like regret even being in the business.
Yes.
And like, it's like my dad's words come to mind on those bad days. And that gets me out of bed. That gets me revved up. That gets me going. And that pushes me to keep doing what we're doing and moving forward.
So true.
So that's okay. Next.
You doing it or am I doing it?
Oh, who did it last?
I don't know.
Okay. Close it.
I'll close it.
Okay, but we already went over this. How does a woman and a male dynamic play a positive and negative role in running your business as partners?
Let's do another one.
Okay, skip. Okay, can you share a specific personal struggle that you faced and how it's shaped your character your character or perspective? We're getting deep, man. We're getting
personal
deep.
Struggle.
Are you trying to make us cry?
Right?
We got the booze, we got the questions. What the hell?
Right?
Like one personal thing that has completely shaped how you redefine your thinking.
I think that my personal decision to not have children was a struggle for a long time, but I have a partner that's like totally on that one spectrum.
Yes.
And so even when I was in that area of unknown where I didn't know which decision I was going to make, it was like he gave me, like, obviously he inspired me in a way that made me feel like it's okay to not have children and go through life as a woman. Like, you can do this.
Yes.
And you don't have to feel guilty about it.
Before you met him, you were already on that path. So it didn't, but then there was a moment where you changed. It's like, I think it happens to women though, like where they get to like, you know, a certain age and they're like, if I don't do it now, I'm probably not doing it.
Yeah.
So I, like, being as close to Christy as I am, I saw there was a moment where she was like flipping, but she was with Scott already. And they like, and I think he was able to bring you back to like what your decision actually already was.
Yes.
And realize that you guys were aligned in that, and that your decision going the other way was actually not what you wanted. It was like, it was just feeling like everybody else is doing it. Am I going to regret this? My dad like told me like how much I meant to him on, you know, on his deathbed and all of those things. And I remember you having that moment of like, this is like, am I going to regret not having that? Right?
It's so true. That's exactly it. Like, Jeff knows me better than I know myself.
I know you're pretty good.
Because that's like nailed it. It was that flip-flop and that, yes. And then I got to this awakening moment where I was like, I've made the right choice and this is it. And now I feel confident in that choice, which is why I don't see it as a struggle anymore.
No, it's not.
When I think back to it, I go, oh, was that a struggle? Oh, I'm way past that. Like, it's not even a thought about a struggle. That's why it's hard to even resurface that time, because it just, when it was decided, it's like I never look back.
Yeah. So true.
Okay, what about you? Well, wait, what about Jeff? Jeff needs to struggle. I can't be the only one.
You know what? Mine has been like, I think like, a lot of people will tell you like, I'm really good at time management. Like, I'm good at like managing my time, but I feel like I've struggled with my relationships over time. Like my, just giving everybody as much time as I think I need to. And that's like, that creates guilt for me because I'm like, I want, you know, like my best friends, for example, like I get really busy with work, I'm busy with my family, and then I'm not seeing my friends, right? Or like my relationships at home, like you want to spend the time. My kids, like I constantly have that guilt if ever I'm like, so I'd like leave and go out the door in the summertime to work, and you know, and my kids are at home, and then I'm rushing home to get to them with guilt, right? Of like, I didn't spend the whole day with you, right? But I was like the only bread earner in the family. So there's been this constant like push and pull for me of like just feeling like you're disappointing somebody, but also trying to like, you know, just trying to make everyone happy, right? And at the same time, sometimes like not actually ever thinking about yourself or worrying about what's happening with you, just constantly trying to make everyone else happy.
I think you've recently rediscovered like that sometimes you do have to take a step back and look internally.
You only have one life, right? That's been a big thought process in my mind, right? Is like, you have one life. What are you doing with it, right? Are you going to live it for everybody else, or are you going to like love the relationships, give them your all, and you know, but also love yourself, right? And understand that like you got to do some things for yourself sometimes, right? So that was very a big, well said. Yeah,
very well said.
Okay.
We're doing all of it, eh?
They might be, I think it's the last one.
Oh, last one.
Okay, close it up.
Might be similar, let's see.
Okay. Maybe we change it. What time is it? Okay, we're doing okay.
What was yours and Jeff's first interaction with one another?
I was a hostess at the Keg at the time. Jeff used to come in and with his girlfriend because he liked to show off that he could afford a steak dinner.
We're having a date.
Yep. You know it. And
sometimes her parents were banned. Okay.
Yeah. I hope she's watching this. And so then, and then we were like friendly to each other. We were always like I saw him all the time. He used to come almost every weekend. And so I saw him all the time. And then somehow our worlds connected through two things: friends, dating each other. Mm-hmm. And then my mom was also good friends with
my mentor,
your mentor who started in business. Yeah. And then I remember you called me one day and you were like, oh, I saw you in this magazine, Success Magazine. Oh my God. It's so lame. Oh. Okay. My mom was in this magazine. And I guess Susan had a copy of it on the desk. So when Jeff went into the office, he saw it. And there was an article, and I think it said something like her daughter's getting her real estate license and going to join the industry. And so that's where you were like, hey, you're getting into real estate. Like, can I pick your brain on that? Yes. Remember? Do you remember that?
I do.
But then you went traveling for a long time before you came back and got your real estate license.
She got in the business before me. It was... Ours, it's like we had first interactions where we like saw each other and knew who each other were. Yeah. And then we had like first friendship interactions. I'd say like I would break it into that. Because then like where we became like close was where like our friends started doing, and then we came into a group together.
All of our friends started dating and getting married to each other, including you. Yeah. And that's when our whole friendship, like, it was like we spent every single weekend together.
Yes.
All the time. Like,
and we like, it's weird. We always had like, always had this amazing connection, me and Christy, like, but we never crossed lines really badly with it. No. Right. Which was kind of cool. Like for two people that had so much of a cool friendship, like, we traveled to Miami together with her family, right? Like we traveled like, so many places together. Right?
We have always traveled together.
Totally.
We've done so much in that department. So, and our families, we were always close. I even moved in with your mom at one time.
Totally. Like, when I wasn't even living there.
No. Yeah. I moved in with his mom because I was in between houses at the time with my boyfriend at the time. I forgot
you did that.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Yeah. But like we were so interconnected. Yeah. In so many ways, friendships, and then obviously the business too. Yeah. But the business we kind of kept at a distance.
Yeah, we always did our own thing. And that's why I say like the right timing came together. Yes. We got it's funny because sometimes like coming together in business can like turn it where you just become friends through like now it's just the business and the friendship takes a hit, but we let it take us closer.
Yeah.
We've become even closer, I'd say.
We've become closer for sure because of it. And you know what's funny is that I remember that our friends used to say, if Jeff and Christy ever got together, they would rule the world.
Yes.
And we were like, whatever, guys. Right. And then one day we were like, should we?
Let's just do this. Right? Like we had like, it's funny because like our friends always had to like make a choice of who they were using. Right. And like we had so many interconnections of that. And so a bunch would use Christy and a bunch would use me. And it was like we were in the same group of friends that like there's 5 realtors in the group. Oh, yeah. Christy and I kind of led the way. Yeah. Right. And then one day it was just like, should we just do this? I
think like, this could work. Together? It took us a year though to actually come together.
Yes.
It took us a year to actually lay it all out, figure it out, and like get through all of the decision making, planning, what we were gonna do, strategize, and then we finally were like, all right, this is right.
So when you first talked about it to like actually signing the paperwork, and it was like a year.
It was a year because there's so many things about it, right? It was like it was a big percentage. It was a big decision. It was she was leaving her mom. I was at Royal LePage. She was at Keller Williams. Which brokerage are we going to? Mm-hmm. There was so many things. All of our
materials. Like we laid out. Brand. Remember, we had like a meeting where we laid out all of our materials on the table. We're like, this one's better, that one's better, this one's better, that one's better. Like we did all this planning.
Because the whole thing was bring like the best of both into one.
Yeah.
Right. And then it was who's coming. Like I had like 7 agents on my team. Who's coming for my team is like Christy had Kirsten, but she was with her mom. Mm-hmm. So it's like, are we breaking away? Is Kirsten coming with me? Right. Mm-hmm. She was a top producing agent at the time with Christy too. And so it was like, who came? We had admins. Whose admins are coming?
Yeah,
there's
all
a
of
lot
that to consider. And then we went to the lawyer. We interviewed accountants too. Yeah. That was one of the steps we made prior, or like right on the verge of everything, because we were like, we need a bookkeeper. We need someone to keep all the numbers clean. We went to the lawyer. We contracted it out. We did everything by the book. Everything was right.
Yeah.
And that's how it came.
Yeah. So just out of pure curiosity, how did you have open talks about percentages and compensation between the two of you without maybe one of you getting insulted, or like, how do you?
It's actually been really like, we've always been on the same page.
We have,
in my perspective.
We say it to each other all the time. It's a weird thing in our partnership that the decisions we make, we always go through each other for them, but we're always on the same page.
We're always on the same
page.
It's
been a really weird
dynamic,
thing, right? And I think the thing was we both just talked openly and honestly about it. It was, this is what I'm bringing to the table now. This is what it is. Our partnership split that we had from day one has changed dramatically to now, right? Like the goal from the beginning was always like, Christy's going to take on more as we go into it. And she has, she's gone and taken on so much more in the business, right? And grown her business more too, right? Because she was always in a partnership with her mom, right? And kind of running her mom's business in a lot of ways, right? And then she like spawned and went on her own and did her own thing, but she left her whole database essentially with her mom, right? Because it mostly was her mom's to start, and she left hers there too. So Christy kind of like was starting her business from scratch again. I already had like built mine. But we've let the percentages and stuff change as they should. And we've never argued over it.
Never.
It's always been a conversation. We talk openly. It's a business conversation.
And it's crazy because we're always like at the same time in line. Like it's like we come together and we have the conversation. It's like, yes. We're all thinking the same thing. And then the change can happen.
That's really
it's super cool.
Like, it's a daunting task to me to think about stuff like that.
I know.
Most people, partnerships are
that's what breaks them.
They break them up.
I think partnerships are actually harder than marriages.
They are. Well, they are a marriage. Christy is my work wife. Yeah. We are married in business, right? And so you have to communicate.
Where's my ring, bitch?
Right? Right?
That's a club.
Right? So like we so it's the same. We say it all the time. It's like, if you want your marriage to work, if you want your any relationship you have to work, you have to communicate. So Christy and I communicate. We talk to each other. We're honest with each other. We're open with each other. If one of us has a problem, we're close enough that way that we're not scared to say it to each other.
So how did you know that your values, like what showed you that your values?
We knew each other. Look, I know her as well as she knows herself.
Yeah, it's
right?
so
she
true.
Knows me
We know each other really well. Like we can read each other from a million miles away. I think the big thing is like, we do have the same values, and we both said it in one of our meetings. It was like, failure's not an option.
Yes.
And so we both felt like, because it's like, what's your motto? What's your motto? And then we both had the same motto, and we were like, yeah, that's it.
Yes.
And then what we did was we wrote out our mission statement. Yep. And we did get the team involved in helping us create that. Yes. But Jeff and I had already like come to the table with these ideas on what our mission statement was going to be. And I think once you write a mission statement with your partner as like your first step, when you've decided we're going to do this, it's like, that's when you start aligning, because you really see what are your, missions out of this business? What are yours? What are your goals?
The one thing we didn't know about each other was like, we knew that we were both having success in the business and that we were both like, let's call it good at real estate. Yeah. But we didn't know like, what does your everyday look like? What is your mindset around it? How much growth do you want? All that. But then when we both came together and it was like, failure is not an option was the motto. It was like, we both know that means we both want to grow. Yeah. Right. And for us, like part of the reason coming together was like, we wanted to grow. Yeah. Right. And so that growth mindset was a start, like a foundation piece. Right.
Yeah. And we've always had this like balance throughout the whole course of things too. It's like sometimes when Jeff is doing something or going through something, then I will take a lead, and then vice versa. We'll switch gears that way. Or like even with sales, it's like, sometimes, we've got to like fill the gaps and stuff. And one of us will be doing it and have to take on another role while the other one is taking on sales or managing the agents or something like that. So it's like this this dynamic that we've always like traded the baton when needed without even talking about it. It's just happening. We've just like naturally it's like you could see where the other one's slacking, so you pick it up. Exactly. Yeah, and that's how our dynamic has been since day one, continues to be. And anytime we have a need to reconnect, we go for dinner, we go for lunch, we sit at the table, we reconnect on everything possible when we're like, okay, there's something happening with us. We haven't communicated in a while. Yes. And I think our communication is really good because we do talk a lot.
We talk a lot and we can be really like fully honest with each other. She can tell me you're like, I don't know if we're supposed to swear on this, but like you're fucking up, right? Or you're not present right now and I need you to be. And then I'm like, fuck up. Right. And I can say to her, she can come in and be like in a bad mood. And I can be like, you need to go home right now.
Get out of here.
You're not supposed to be here right now because you're not bringing your best self to work today. And the fact that we can like be that way with each other, I think is like huge, right? Like that's a lot of people don't have that. Right. So it's special. I think we both know it. It's not like this isn't a relationship. Don't let resentment
build up, because even though there's things that happen, because that's the nature of any business, any partnership, we don't let resentment build up. We nip it. We have conversations. We work it out. We move on.
And we have never let ego come in the way of it either. And that's where it also plays well, right? Yeah. Yes. Right. Is we know that like we're doing this together. We're one.
Yeah.
Right. So
trade hands.
And we stand up for each other too. If somebody's like, if
somebody's recognizing that one of us is not present or not being their best self, we stand up for them. Yes. We take over. We don't engage in something like that. We just nip it. We take care of it. And then we have a conversation about it to get through it.
I trust that when Christy's going to do what Christy needs to do, because failure is not an option. Right. So if she needs to take a day off, like I took yesterday off, right? I was like, I'm spending an extra day with my kids and my family today. That's a day that I needed, right? In that moment, she doesn't question me on it. She might be like, where the fuck was Jeff today? Right. But she's not like, she doesn't question me on it because she knows I'm going to come back and make up for that time. Right. Christy,
and then I get a day off.
Right. And then she gets a day off. Christy can go away. Christy went away for a long trip. She needed it. She needed a reset over during our slow period. We don't question each other on that stuff. There's a complete trust that the other person's going to pull their weight.
Yes.
Right.
That's exactly.
We'll wrap it up, but that was like really, really well said.
Okay.
That was uncomfortable.
That was.
But actually
I'm
not.
Sweating.
Right. Like, I don't know. I think it's like.
I think it's kind of nice to do this. So I don't know. I kind of like this dynamic, but it goes a little bit outside of like our comfort zone as far as like keeping it professional.
Yeah. We're always like trying to we always end up talking real estate, but I think for us, it's like we have such a connection that's outside of real estate. I think it's good for people to be able to see
what we behind the scenes of how the business built.
Even with new relationship.
Yeah. Well, we're humans. And I think the reality with Christy and me, like part of what has made us work too is like, we have fun. Right? Like we have fun with our team. We have fun with our clients. Like it's why we have stayed in this business for 20 and 17 years, right? Like we want to like come to work every day and it not be the same thing. We both get bored easily, right? So to us, it's like real estate. We've been able to make it fun by like having fun with it.
Yeah.
Right. So, but people don't always get to see that side. If we have to do like a video for like, a home tour or like content for real estate, it's all professional, but nobody ever gets to see like who we actually are. Right.
We usually go out for dinner after and celebrate and have fun.
Right.
So, yeah, that's the side. That's it.
That's it.
Okay.